Know, O friend, who wonders about the triumph of the sinful over the pious, and the supremacy of the wicked over the righteous in this worldly life. In a vision I saw a castle that contained many pavilions. Their inhabitants varied in beauty and exaltedness, glory and luster. The one sitting in the center resembled the king. Below him, down to the portal, were rooms whose residents varied in rank and distinction. A servant stood by the door, and a fawning dog lay in front of the door. Then I saw another castle with a glittering front. In wonder, I looked into it and saw the king playing with the dog in front of the portal. The women, dressed immodestly, were joking with the children. Important tasks were left undone, as the duties or functions of the dog, children, and servants of the lowest degree seemed to have acquired prominence. The residents were busy with shameful things. However glittering, fortified, and magnificent its appearance, in reality the castle was dark and wretched. I see humanity, an individual, and my carnal self as castles. Those who live in castles have infinitely different degrees or ranks in knowledge, morality, and values. What modern, civilized people call progress is, in fact, falling and degeneration. What they call acquiring and holding power is vulgarization and loss of value. What they call being awake, revival, and enlightenment is deepening in the sleep of heedlessness. What they call politeness is show and hypocrisy, cleverness and a satanic intriguing, and humanity being metamorphosed into beasts. Due to their God-given radiating faculties being together with their dark souls, some graceful and attractive scenes may appear in this fallen, rebellious people. But for the pious believers obeying God Almighty, their carnal souls represent the sorrowful-looking dog in front of the door. They use their God-given faculties not to gratify lovely desires and fancies, but to guide people back to the purpose of their creation. If God Almighty loves a servant, He does not make him or her love the world's beauty. Rather, when necessary, He uses misfortune to make that servant despite them. What a pity that this corrupt civilization has developed attractive devices and charming toys that fascinate those who live in the castle and who are, like moths attracted by light, drawn to burning fires. No, O wretched, sinful sight! Why this self-conceit, heedlessness, and indifference to God's blessings? Do you not see that your free will is as weak as a hair, your power less than a minute particle, your life as temporary as a flash of light, your consciousness as dull as a dim and decaying ray of light, your time as short as a passing moment, and your space the size of a grave? Yet your impotence is endless, your needs are infinite, your poverty is boundless, and your ambitions are limitless. Should such a person rely on what is in his or her hands and depend on his or herself, or should he or she rely on God, all merciful, all compassionate? Among the wrappings of His mercy and chests of His bounties are light fields and light-diffusing suns and fruit-bearing trees, and among the streams rising from the source of His blessings and the floods of His mercy are water and light. Know, O friend, who regards the conclusion as too great to be supported by the evidence provided. Each truth of belief is corroborated, supported, and strengthened by every other truth which indicates the truth of Islam and each of its parts. These innumerable evidences, witnesses, and signs of the truth of Islam and of belief corroborate the truth of each and set the seal of approval on it, for while the negation or rejection of many equals that of one, as explained earlier, the confirmation of one is strengthened by the confirmation of many. Know, O friend, that intense love causes one to deny the thing loved. This is also true for intense fear, excessive greediness, and comprehensive reason. Intense love for that which may not be attained can lead to denying the thing loved. Intense fear may cause one to deny that which one fears, and greatness beyond the grasp of reason may be denied by that reason. Know, O friend, that the seed of unbelief potentially bears hell, just as a mustard plant is contained in its seed. Likewise, belief potentially bears the seed of paradise, just as a palm tree is contained in its seed. It is normal for a mustard seed to grow into a mustard plant and a palm seed to grow into a palm tree. In the same way, misguidance leads to hell and guidance leads to paradise. Know, O friend, that if a seed is pierced in the heart, it cannot grow into a tree so that it becomes proud of itself. Similarly, when your ego's heart grain is pierced with the rays and burning flames of your regular recitation of the divine name, it cannot grow and become strengthened to be proud of itself, like Pharaoh, by heedlessly relying on human accomplishment and rebelling against the all-compelling and overwhelming Lord of the heavens and earth. Naqshbandi saints have opened up the heart's grain and found a short way to ignite the rocky mountain of ego and smash the head of the conceited soul with the drill of silently reciting God's names. The loud recitation of those names destroys the idol of philosophical naturalism. Know, O friend, that even in the remotest, largest, and most delicate spheres of multiplicity, the corporeal spheres where things exist separately and in abundance, the imprints of wisdom, care, and making firm and perfect are observed clearly. Look at the remotest ends of your body's skin. See how the pen of divine power has inscribed lines and designs pointing to the meanings in its possessors spread on the pages of your body's forehead, face, and palms. The invisible, immaterial copy of your life history is hung around your neck and points to your destiny. This inscription, which indicates one's destiny, has no opening through which blind chance or any similar agent, like causality, can pass. Know, O friend, who is fond of this worldly life, you think that the purpose of life and of whatever the eternal power has entrusted to humanity and living beings, such as wonderful systems and extraordinary faculties, is only to maintain this fleeting life and secure its continuance. But you are wrong. If the purpose of life is its continuance, then the most manifest, clearest, and radiant proofs of wisdom, favoring, and orderliness, as well as the absolute lack of futility observed throughout the universe and witnessed by its overall order, would represent the most astonishing futility and wastefulness, purposelessness, and chaos, since everything perishes. What comes to you from the fruits and purposes of life is proportionate to your part in owning and controlling your life. The other purposes and fruits pertain to the bestower of life. Humanity is only the object of His name's manifestations. God will display His mercy's colors and radiations in the greatest degree in paradise, which will consist of fruits growing from the seeds of this life. Your relation with your life is like that between a steersman and the royal ship he steers. The steersman places his hands on those instruments that move and steer the ship. His share of the ship's uses and income is proportionate to his relation with the ship and the service he renders, perhaps 1 in thousands. This relation between you and the ship of your existence and life is the same, and your share from the uses and purposes of your life is also only 1 in thousands. Moreover, you have not even earned this part by your words or deeds. Know, O my heart, that the world's pleasure and beauty in the absence of knowledge about our Creator, Owner, and Lord are no more than a hell, even if they were as great as those of paradise. This is my experience and observation. With his knowledge, a blessing like compassion becomes so pleasing and sweet that it may make one indifferent to whatever is in the world, even to paradise. Know, O my heart, that whatever happens here has two aspects. One pertains to this world, the carnal soul and our worldly desires and fancies. The other pertains to the hereafter. With respect to the worldly aspect, the greatest, most important, and most established affair is the smallest, most insignificant, and fleeting in itself. So do not worry or grieve about it, nor consider it important. Know, O my heart, that no one is more stupid and ignorant than one who sees the sun's image in a transient, tiny object, or its manifestation on a flower as color, and then demands that that image or color be exactly like those of the original, the light and heat diffusing lamp on the world's ceiling that enjoys the central position in the solar system and makes the planets revolve around it. Furthermore, when what is seen in the tiny object or the flower disappears due to their restricted and defective view, they deny the existence of the sun at midday, even if all that exists, without exception, testifies to it in broad daylight. Such people confuse a shadowy existence formed through a manifestation or reflection according to what destiny has determined with the main substantial existence. They see the sun's image in a transparent object and ask, is the sun so little? Where are its amazing heat and other properties? And so on. Within such objections is a mistaken wish to take hold of a brand of the sun's fire, to touch or influence it. They fail to understand that nearness to the sun does not mean or necessitate that they can influence it by their acts. Further, seeing that the smallest things are made surprisingly firm with astonishing care and pleasing art and for significant purposes, they derive a mistaken analogy. Their maker must have exerted great and unnecessary effort in making them. So they ask, why has the wise maker expended such great labor upon this net? What value does it have? O you who think like a sophist, God's is the highest comparison, and for him the highest of examples and similitudes should be coined. God is the creator and guardian of all things. Bear the following in mind so that you can consider this matter clearly. First point. On account of what it bears from his attributes, everything indicates the Almighty in his Lordship's perfection. Whatever that thing has of good is from him, it cannot be ascribed to it as its own good. Second point. Everything contains doors opened on the Almighty's light. If one door appears to be closed, it does not mean that all others are closed. Rather, one open door means that all doors are open. Third point. Destiny, a reflection of God's all-encompassing knowledge, has determined for each thing a specific, fitting character out of the radiations of God's absolutely luminous names. Fourth point. When he wills a thing, his command is but to say to it, be, and it is. Your creation and resurrection are but like those of a single soul. Attributing things to themselves or to possible causes requires that we accept all kinds of impossibilities arising from such a mistaken judgment. Know, O friend, that the Quran explains many truths through parables and comparisons, for its abstract divine truths can be presented only in limited, concrete forms in this material sphere of contingencies. A contingent being considers these concrete, contingent forms and contemplates in their light acts issuing from the sphere of absolute necessity, the sphere of divinity. Know, O friend, that the heart has the same meaning for you as the divine throne has for the universe. Your heart is your being's outer dimension, and you are your being's inner dimension in your heart. In the sphere of the divine name, the outward, the divine throne encompasses all things. In the sphere of the divine name, the inward, it is like the heart of creation. In the sphere of the name, the first, it is pointed to by his throne was upon the water. In the divine name, the last, it is symbolized by the ceiling of paradise is God's throne. The divine throne has the qualities of being first and last, outer and inner, issuing from. He is the first and the last, the outer and the inner. Know, O friend, that helplessness gives rise to entreating and need causes praying. O Lord, O Creator, O Owner, I entreat you and pray to you because I am needy. I take shelter in you through my prayer because I am destitute. My helplessness is my means of imploring you and asking you for help. My weakness is my treasure. My ambition and pain are my capital. Your beloved, the Prophet, upon him be peace and blessings, and your mercy are my intercessors. Pardon me, forgive my sins, and have mercy on me, O God, O all-merciful, O all-compassionate. A supplication. O Lord, I looked in all 6 directions for a cure for my pain. Alas, I found none. I looked to pass time on my right to find solace, but yesterday appeared in the form of my father's grave. I looked to the future on the left and found no cure. Rather, tomorrow appeared in the form of my grave. I looked at the present day and saw it like a coffin carrying my desperately struggling corpse. I raised my head and saw that my corpse was looking down at me. I lowered my head and saw that the dust of my bones underfoot had mixed with the dust of my first creation. Turning away from that direction, I looked behind and saw a temporary world with no foundation revolving in valleys of nothingness and the darkness of non-existence. Since I saw no good from that direction either, I cast my eye ahead. I saw that the door of my grave stood open at the end of my way, behind which the highway leading to eternity caught my eyes from afar. What I have is but an insignificant free will lacking power and having only a short range that cannot penetrate the past or discern the future. The arena where the willpower is active is brief present time and the passing present instant. Despite all my destitution and helplessness, the pen of your power has inscribed infinite desire and ambition extending to eternity in my nature. The sphere of need is as extensive as the eye reaches. In fact, wherever the imagination goes, the sphere of need extends that far, whereas the extent of my power reaches no further than my arm. My desire and need are infinite, whereas my capital is as little and insignificant as an atom. So, what does that insignificant willpower signify in the face of this need that is so great that it encompasses the universe? However, O Lord, I give up my free will on your way and abandon my ego so that your absolute mercy may help and support me. One who finds the boundless sea of mercy does not rely on his or her own free will, which is no more than a drop from a mirage. O Lord, this passing life is but a sleep. This life too flies like the wind. O my wretched soul, fond of living and desirous of a long life, awaken and come to your senses. Your Creator is He in whose hand is all life and existence. His is all existence and He bestows life and existence. So sacrifice yourself in His way to gain permanence, for a negation negated is an affirmation. Thus, if our non-being is negated in favor of being, our being finds true existence. O God, O all generous and munificent, grant to me a life and place from your presence. Make me of limitless value in your sight, for surely you are the all-preserver, the all-protector. An address to the Parliament. In the name of God, the all-merciful, the all-compassionate. Surely, the prayer is obligatory for believers at fixed hours. O members of Parliament, you will be resurrected for a mighty day. O soldiers of Islam, O Supreme Advisory Council of the nation, please listen to the advice of this humble person on a matter of the highest importance. The advice is offered in 10 sections. First, the extraordinary divine blessing contained in this victory requires thanksgiving so that it may last. If a blessing is not returned with thanksgiving, it disappears. Now that you have saved the Quran from the enemy's attacks, with God's help, obey its clearest, most decisive injunctions, such as the prescribed prayer, so that its blessings may come to you constantly. Second, you have given joy to the Muslim world and won its love and favorable inclination. Nevertheless, this can endure only if you fulfill Islam's commandments, which demonstrate that Turkey is Muslim. Muslims love you because of your being Muslims. Third, you have commanded the soldiers of Islam who have been martyred or survived and who may be regarded as saints. Thus, you are expected to obey the Quran so that you may be in the company of those illustrious persons in the other world. Otherwise, although you hold a position of authority here, you will have to beg an ordinary soldier for light in the other. For all of its fame and honor, this base world is not so worthwhile that it can suffice you and be an end for you. Fourth, even if they themselves are not observant, Muslims still want their leaders to be pious. The first question the people in southeastern Turkey ask their officials is whether they pray. If they do, the people trust them. If they do not, the people condemn them, even if they are eminent officials. Once, the tribes of Beit al-Shabab rebelled against their officials. When I asked them why they did so, they answered, "Our governor does not pray and drinks alcohol. How can we obey such an irreligious person?" These people admitted that they did not pray. Moreover, they were robbers. Fifth, most prophets appeared in the East, while most philosophers emerge in the West. This is a sign of destiny showing that the main impulse for progress in the East is religion and the heart, not reason and philosophy. You have awakened the East. Now direct it in its proper and suitable course so that your efforts will not be in vain or of temporary, superficial use only. Sixth, the Western powers which are hostile to you and to Islam have used and are still using your neglect and indifference to the religion. Others who likewise exploit your neglect of the religion harm you and Islam as much as your enemies do. For the sake of Islam's well-being and the nation's security and prosperity, renounce this neglect and resume your religious duties. Do you not see that despite their external resolution and steadfastness and causing some degree of awakening among Muslims, the followers of the Union and Progress Party were despised and hated by the people because they appeared indifferent to and careless in practicing Islam? If Muslims living in other countries showed them respect, they did so because they did not witness this neglect. Seventh, The world of unbelief has been fighting the Muslim world for centuries with all its power. Its technological facilities, civilization, philosophy, sciences, and missionary organizations finally established material and military superiority over the Muslim world. However, it has not triumphed over Islam. All deviant religious groups within the state have long been despised and remained negligible factions. Islam has preserved its firmness and fortitude through the adherence of the many to the way of the Prophet, and this has preserved our internal cohesion and unity. Given this, an irreligious movement originating from the corrupt elements of European civilization cannot be allowed to arise and grow through heedlessness. Revolutionary, important accomplishments in the Muslim world are possible only if the pillars of Islam are obeyed, otherwise not. Even if some achievements have been witnessed, they are not lasting. 8. The corrupt elements of European civilization, which have caused indifference to the religion, are on the verge of decline. A new Quranic civilization is about to appear. At such a time, it is not possible to achieve what is good by ignoring Islam. As to realizing negative, destructive trends, the world of Islam has suffered so much damage that it does not need them. 9th, those who appreciate your services and the victory you won in this national war, who love you from the bottom of their hearts, are the believing majority of this country. In particular, the common people are strong Muslims who sincerely love and support you, appreciate your sacrifices, and feel indebted to you. They present you a vast, very great power that has been awakened. For the benefit of Islam, you must build a connection with them and rely on them by obeying the Quran. Otherwise, since it runs against the well-being of Islam and Muslims to prefer a fortunate, deviant minority that wholeheartedly imitates the West or the Muslim masses, the Muslim world will turn away from you and seek help from others. 10th, only one who is tired of living tries to follow a way that is 90% certain to lead to perdition. There is a 99% chance of salvation in the prescribed prayers, an indispensable obligation of Islam that takes only an hour to perform. There can come, at most, 1% of worldly harm from praying, whereas there is a 99% chance of harm in not obeying Islam. I wonder what excuse can be given for neglecting or ignoring the Islamic obligations, for doing so is certain to harm one both in this world and the next. How do religious and national zeal allow it? People imitate this group of Muslim soldiers, the members of parliament, in their acts. People either imitate or criticize their leaders' defects and shortcomings. Whichever they do, it causes harm. This means that the rights of God on the leaders also contain the rights of people on them. Some follow the suggestions of their carnal souls and whims and fancies whispered by a Satan. They do not listen to a clear message on which the whole Muslim community always has agreed, and do not heed the countless proofs for its truth, beneficial nature, and warnings about neglecting it. Such people cannot be expected to realize good, significant accomplishments. This mighty revolution should be based on sound foundations. By virtue of the power it enjoys, the collective person of this honored parliament has assumed the meaning and function of the governing body. It should not fail to assume the function of the office of religious affairs by fulfilling and making the people fulfill those principles of Islam that show whether a country is Muslim or not. This parliament should satisfy the religious needs of the people who, while needing 4 things for life, feel the need for the religion at least 5 times a day. They have not been debased by modern civilization's seductive pleasures and have not forgotten their spiritual need. They will accept your appointment to the office of religious affairs and give wholehearted support. Any support and power that do not originate in and depend on the parliament will cause internal discord and rift, which is contrary to the Quranic commandments. Hold fast all together to the robe of God. This is the time to be a united community and establish a collective consciousness. The collective personality originating in the community is firm and better able to enforce the Shariah's commandments. One who assumes the burden of conducting religious affairs can fulfill its requirements only by depending on the collective person represented in the parliament for the people. If this collective person is upright, the services provided will be much better and more extensive than those of a single individual. But if it is corrupt, the corruption will be greater and more extensive. Whatever good or bad one person does is generally limited in its effects, whereas a community is good or bad is boundless. By causing evil and corruption within the country, do not destroy the good and merit you obtained by fighting the external enemy. You well know that your external enemies and adversaries wish to destroy Islam's main pillars. Therefore, you are obliged to restore and preserve them so that you will not be unconsciously abetting the enemy's conscious will. Neglect and apathy in practicing Islam's main commandments demonstrate the nation's weakness, and that weakness does not stop the nation's enemies from attacking, rather it encourages them. God is sufficient for us, and how good a guardian He is. What a good Lord and what a good helper.